The most evil anime characters explained. First up, Griffith is one of the central characters in Kentaro Miura's manga and anime series Berserk, and he embodies a complex blend of ambition, charisma, and moral ambiguity. However, he also represents a profound sense of evil, particularly in his actions and the ultimate consequences of his ambitions. Griffith starts off as a noble and charismatic leader with a dream of establishing his own kingdom. He is highly ambitious, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. He is an adept manipulator, often using the emotions and loyalties of those around him to further his own ends. His charm and strategic mind draw people into his fold, creating a loyal band of followers who believe in his vision. This manipulation showcases a lack of genuine concern for others. He's willing to exploit the desires and weaknesses of those around him. The pivotal moment that highlights Griffith's evil nature occurs during the eclipse, a horrifying event where he sacrifices his closest friends, the Band of the Hawk, to the God Hand in order to ascend to a higher power and fulfill his dream. This act of betrayal is not just a personal failure but a catastrophic moral downfall. He willingly subjects his followers to gruesome deaths, showing his willingness to throw away their lives for his ambition. This act demonstrates a complete disregard for human life, emphasizing his transformation from a hero to a villain. Following the eclipse, Griffith becomes Femto, a member of the God Hand, and his actions lead to a world filled with suffering and despair. The consequences of his betrayal ripple through the lives of not just the Band of the Hawk but also the larger world. His transformation into a demonic figure epitomizes the loss of his humanity and the lengths he will go to attain power. The trauma inflicted on his former comrades, especially on characters like Guts and Casca, further underscores his cruelty. Griffith's relationship with Casca also adds layers to his character. He initially shows interest in her, but when he makes the decision to sacrifice his comrades, he irreversibly damages Casca's psyche. After the eclipse, she suffers immense trauma, and Griffith's actions not only destroy her life, but also leave a lasting scar on Guts, who deeply cares for her. In summary, Griffith's evil is characterized by his ruthless ambition, betrayal of those who trusted him, and the devastating consequences of his quest for power. He embodies a tragic yet malevolent force in Berserk, representing the darker side of human desire and the moral compromises that come with the pursuit of greatness. His narrative invites reflections on the nature of ambition and the ethical boundaries that can be crossed in the pursuit of one's dreams. Like Yagami, the protagonist of Death Note embodies a complex blend of intelligence, charisma, and moral ambiguity that emerges into outright evil as the series progresses. Initially, he begins with a sincere desire to eradicate crime and create a utopia. However, as he discovers the power of the Death Note, a notebook that allows him to kill anyone by writing their name, his moral compass deteriorates. As he experiments with the Death Note, Light develops a god complex, believing he has the right to judge and take the lives of others. He starts referring to himself as Kira, positioning himself as a deity who can decide who deserves to live or die. Light's intelligence makes him a master manipulator. He uses people as pawns to achieve his goals, including those closest to him, like his girlfriend Mizumane and his own family. He skillfully orchestrates events, often putting others in danger, while maintaining his facade of being the innocent student. Light rationalizes his actions by believing that he is creating a better world. However, this justification is deeply flawed. He kills not just hardened criminals but also innocent people who stand in his way, including law enforcement officers and those who challenge him. His escalating disregard for human life highlights his moral corruption. As Kira's notoriety grows, so does his paranoia. He orders the deaths of those who could expose him, demonstrating a ruthless streak that reveals his willingness to sacrifice anyone for his vision, including close allies and even family members. In the climax of the series, Light's carelessness leads to the deaths of people he claims to care about, revealing his cold-heartedness. His betrayal of allies culminates in an ultimate act of self-preservation, where he resorts to desperate measures to evade capture, including using the Death Note on those who have helped him. In conclusion, while Light Yagami starts with noble intentions, his journey illustrates a profound transformation into one of the most compelling and sinister anti-heroes in anime history. His actions exemplify how power can corrupt, revealing the darker aspects of human nature and morality. Ryuman Sukuna, often referred to simply as Sukuna, is a central antagonist in the manga and anime series Jujutsu Kaisen, created by Jijaku Tami. He is depicted as one of the most powerful and malevolent curses in the series. Here are the details regarding his character and evil nature. Sukuna was once a human sorcerer during the Heian period, known for his immense power and combat skills. He was feared and respected due to his strength, but also notorious for his cruel and sadistic tendencies. After his death, his curse manifested as a powerful entity, comprised of his limbs and malevolent energy. Sukuna derives pleasure from inflicting pain and suffering on others. He enjoys watching fear and despair unfold in his victims. Reflecting a deeply sadistic personality, he exhibits extreme confidence in his abilities, often viewing others as inferior. This arrogance makes him underestimate his opponents, which can lead to both interesting confrontations and his own amusement. Sukuna has a cunning and manipulative side, often playing with characters' emotions and decisions. He can create conflict and chaos, enjoying the turmoil he causes while keeping his true intentions vague. Sukuna is exceptionally powerful, being able to effortlessly defeat most opponents. His strength, speed, and cursed energy levels surpass those of typical Jujutsu sorcerers, making him a formidable and deadly opponent. He can unleash devastating techniques, often involving destruction on a massive scale. His special techniques, such as his domain expansion, are particularly fearsome and nearly impossible to counter. His existence brings chaos to the world of Jujutsu sorcerers. He represents the existential threat that curses pose to humanity. His resurrection and actions lead to significant conflict and fear among Jujutsu sorcerers. He possesses the ability to inhabit the body of Yuji Itadori, the series protagonist, creating a complex relationship, where he often tries to manipulate Yuji, while also exhibiting moments of disdain or amusement towards him. Sukuna embodies the philosophy of nihilism, expressing disdain for life and the human condition. He sees existence as meaningless and believes that suffering is inherent in life, which drives his motives and actions. His outlook on life emphasizes the idea that strength and power are the only things that matter, reinforcing the series' themes about the struggle for power and the moral ambiguities within the human experience. While he seems to operate primarily for his own amusement, Sukuna also has grander ambitions, such as seeking power and dominance over sorcerers and even other curses. His ultimate goals are shrouded in mystery, but they align with his nature as a being of destruction. In essence, Sukuna represents a complex antagonist in Jujutsu Kaisen, showcasing an intricate blend of fear, power, and philosophical depth. Don Quixote Doflamingo, a prominent antagonist in One Piece, embodies a complex brand of evil, characterized by his sadistic pleasure in manipulating and tormenting others. As a former warlord of the sea and captain of the Don Quixote pirates, he wields significant power, which he employs ruthlessly to achieve his ambitions. Doflamingo's childhood was marred by betrayal and harsh realities, leading him to develop a jaded worldview where he sees people merely as pawns. He runs the Dressrosa kingdom through fear, using his devil fruit ability, the string fruit Ito Ito no Mi, to control and manipulate not just objects but also people's very will, turning them into puppets. His infamous Tantata tribe and various citizens of Dressrosa suffer under his reign, showcasing his complete disregard for human life and suffering. His background as a celestial dragon further entrenches his twisted sense of superiority and entitlement, allowing him to justify heinous acts without remorse. Doflamingo's actions include human trafficking, conducting underground slave trades, and engaging in brutal combat, showcasing his moral depravity. He revels in chaos, often going out of his way to inflict pain on others, demonstrating a calculated cruelty that fuels his ambition and desire for control. Ultimately, Doflamingo thrives on the despair he creates, viewing himself as a puppet master in a world of puppets, which makes him one of the most compellingly malevolent figures in the One Piece universe. His blend of charm, intelligence, and ruthlessness creates a deeply unsettling yet fascinating character that captures the essence of evil in a multifaceted way, leaving a lasting impact on both the story and the viewers. Shou Tucker, a character from Fullmetal Alchemist, is often regarded as one of the most despicable figures in the series due to his profound moral depravity and tragic choices. A state alchemist, Tucker initially appears to be a competent scientist with a focus on researching chimera creation. However, his character quickly reveals itself to embody the darkest aspects of ambition and desperation. Tucker's most infamous act, and the one that solidifies his legacy as a villain, is his transformation of his own daughter, Nina, and their dog, Alexander, into a chimera. This horrific act is not merely the result of cold-heartedness or madness, but also a reflection of Tucker's willingness to sacrifice his familial bonds for the sake of professional advancement. The emotional weight of this decision is exacerbated by the fact that Tucker had once displayed a semblance of affection for Nina, making his betrayal even more profound. His descent into moral darkness is driven by the pressures of being a state alchemist, where he is incentivized to produce results and demonstrate the effectiveness of his research. This drives him to experiment with human lives, reducing them to mere subjects in his quest for success, showcasing a stark disregard for the consequences of his actions. The loss of his daughter's humanity, combined with the sadistic joy he takes from his work, paints him as a chilling symbol of the ethical blindness that can accompany the pursuit of power and knowledge. Ultimately, Shou Tucker represents the consequences of unchecked ambition and the loss of moral integrity in pursuit of personal gain. He embodies the series' recurring themes of sacrifice, the value of life, and the ethical dilemmas faced by those who wield great power. His actions not only affect the characters within the story, but also serve as a haunting reminder to the audience about the potential for evil that resides within humanity when morality is sacrificed at the altar of ambition.
Dio Brando, the primary antagonist of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series, is a quintessential villain whose malevolence permeates every aspect of his character. Born into a life of poverty and abuse, Dio's ambition and thirst for power were ignited from an early age, leading him to murder his abusive father. He then sought to elevate his status by manipulating others, exemplified by his relationship with the Joestar family, particularly Jonathan Joestar, with whom he develops a fierce rivalry. Dio's evil is characterized by his sociopathic ruthlessness. He revels in the suffering of others and displays a complete disregard for human life. After acquiring the Stand, the world, which grants him the power to stop time, he uses this ability to commit heinous acts, further asserting his dominance and instilling fear. Dio's ambitions transcend mere power. They reflect a deep-rooted desire to achieve immortality and absolute control over his fate and that of humanity. He embodies themes of betrayal, ambition, and nihilism, often using charm and cunning to manipulate others to do his bidding, ultimately leading to their ruin. His ability to inspire both loyalty and fear in his followers, such as his vampire minions, showcases his charismatic yet diabolical nature. Dio's legacy is one of destruction and despair, leaving a trail of broken relationships and shattered lives, making him one of the most iconic and evil villains in anime and manga history. His influence extends throughout the series, affecting generations of characters and culminating in epic battles that emphasize the struggle between good and evil. In summary, Dio Brando is not just evil in a conventional sense. He represents the darkness of human ambition unchecked by morality, making him a complex and enduring figure in the realm of fiction.